You've planned your dream trip to Italy. Pizza, pasta, and perfect cappuccinos. But if you pick the wrong restaurants, you can end up with mediocre, overpriced food that's more tourist trap than trattoria.
Today, we'll show you the red flags to look out for so you can skip the tourist menus, avoid the scams, and eat like a local.
From menus with pictures to fake Michelin stars, we'll show you how to spot and avoid the worst restaurants in Italy.
And we'll also show you how Italians choose a restaurant. And it's not by looking at reviews on Google. Andiamo!
Our first red flag is menus with pictures of all the dishes.
In Italy, menus with glossy full-color pictures of every dish are almost always aimed at tourists. And Italians don't need a picture of spaghetti carbonara to know what that looks like. And restaurants don't feel the need to sell you with their beautiful stock photos.
Here's the thing. The problem isn't just one of aesthetics. It's what those pictures on the menu tell you, which is the restaurant is more focused on volume rather than quality. Often their dishes are frozen or pre-made, made from cheap and quality ingredients, and then reheated. And they save money on that, and that's why they can afford to have these fancy looking laminated menus with the pictures.
Real trattorias often change their menus daily, weekly, and certainly seasonally. So printing up expensive photo laminated menus just really wouldn't make much sense.
In fact, what a lot of the good restaurants do is they just write their menu on a chalkboard because it changes every day or every couple of days.
A second thing to watch out for are menus that are printed in 6 or 7 languages.
It's really logical. If you see a menu that's printed in English and Chinese and Russian and French and German, you know it's not a local place.
It's not that Italians can't speak other languages, of course they do. But a big multi-language menu is a sure sign that the restaurant is catering to crowds of tourists and not locals.
Third, it's not a good sign if there's a waiter outside trying to entice you into the restaurant.
In Italy, the best restaurants don't need to beg for customers. You're not going to find the chef's cousin standing outside waving a laminated menu if this is a good place.
If someone is outside hustling you into the restaurant, that means they're having trouble filling tables, which isn't exactly a sign of amazing food. Instead, they often serve reheated assembly line food to tourists who don't know the difference.
Now, on the other hand, if there's a line outside or you need a reservation to get into the restaurant, now that's a good sign. The fourth thing to watch out for are restaurants that are right adjacent to a big tourist attraction.
That cute restaurant across from the Coliseum or in the Piazza San Marco, it's a gorgeous view, but 9 times out of 10, it's not going to be great food.
What you're paying for is the location, not the quality. The rents there are astronomical, and so the food budget takes a hit. And so what they do is they focus on churning out high volume, low quality meals. They survive on foot traffic rather than repeat customers, so there's very little incentive for them to maintain high standards.
If you really want to sit there and enjoy the view, have a cup of coffee or an aperitivo. It will be expensive, but at least you won't have to endure a disappointing meal.
Now, after your aperitivo, when you're ready for a great meal, just walk 3 or 4 blocks away from that tourist attraction. The prices will go down, the quality will go up, and you're more likely to be surrounded by Italians rather than tour groups.
Our fifth tip is to avoid places with a menu that's really long.
I mean, if a menu offers pizza, pasta, seafood, tacos, sushi, you know that none of it's going to be probably very good.
In Italy, all good restaurants specialize. Along the sea, you'll see restaurants serving seafood where they've just got 6 or 8 dishes and it's all from today's catch. Or in a pizzeria, they serve pizza, maybe a few appetizers. All these places do just what they do best.
Bottom line, if the menu's as thick as the phone book, walk away. What you're looking for is a menu with limited options and primarily based on what's in season at that time. Your taste buds will thank you.
A so-called tourist menu may not be a very good deal.
If you see a big sign in English that says tourist menu, pizza, pasta, wine, only 15 euro, well, that might seem like a good deal.
But those menus are designed for speed and profit. The food is usually mass prepared, small portions, and the quality is questionable. And you really are stuck with the particular items that they're offering you. Now, there are restaurants that offer a set price menu that are good value. And these are smaller trattorias who often cater to local workers. And they use fresh ingredients, but they don't need to advertise this deal. Their customer base knows what good food is.
Well, it's almost like looking for a truck stop. If you see that a lot of truckers have stopped in a restaurant, you know it's good food. Our next tip has to do with fake awards.
Some touristy spots try to impress with a #1 on TripAdvisor or in the Michelin Guide sticker, when neither of those things are true.
Or those made-up awards like Best Pizza 2025 from the Italian Culinary Association. Those things are invented and they printed them up themselves.
If the sign looks suspiciously hand-printed, or maybe they even have spelling errors, or you can't verify online that they're really in the Michelin Guide, it's probably a place to avoid.
Also avoid those restaurants that have great big signs in English that say, Best Pizza in Town. No Italian believes those signs.
Instead, consult reputable guides like Gambero Rosso or ask locals. They will often give you a great recommendation, and these restaurants don't need anything more than word of mouth to build their business. Our next tip is to be careful of claims of homemade or artigianale.
Homemade and artisanal sound great, but in tourist traps, these words are meaningless. In fact, the pasta might be coming from a factory and the bread from the local supermarket.
The giveaways for this: a restaurant that's really proud of its pasta dishes will have somebody making the pasta, and often you can catch a glimpse of that through the kitchen door, or maybe they even make it in a window out in front. On the other hand, if you see boxes of frozen food being unloaded, that's a sign that it's probably not the place for you.
In a real trattoria, you don't need to be told it's homemade. You can actually taste it. And your server will be able to tell you who made it or where it came from. Our ninth tip has to do with Italian-American dishes, which are not authentically Italian.
Yeah, if you see dishes like fettuccine alfredo, spaghetti with meatballs, garlic bread, spaghetti bolognese, or any pasta with chicken, it's really a tip-off that this is not an Italian place. Those are not Italian dishes.
Yeah. In fact, these dishes do not even exist in authentic Italian cooking. They're Italian-American inventions, and they're not part of Italy's true culinary tradition. Now, they're fine to eat in the US, but if you see them on the menu in Italy, that's a red flag that it's not really an authentic place.
Now, before those of you who are knowledgeable jump down our throats, we do know that fettuccine alfredo was originally invented in Rome, but it's a very different dish, the American version. That was a very simple dish. The American version includes cream and chicken and sometimes peas, things like that. And spaghetti and meatballs is served in some places in southern Italy, but you won't find it in the major tourist areas. Our 10th tip has to do with gelato.
It would be a shame to come to Italy and eat bad gelato, but it does exist in touristy areas. Here's what to avoid.
If you see gelato piled high in these bright colors, that's a sign that they're using artificial colors and maybe artificial flavors. What you want to see are muted colors, the natural colors. So pistachio is not green, it's a khaki color. And lemon is not yellow, it's almost white.
An authentic gelato is made with natural ingredients, and it melts at a lower temperature than ice cream. So if you see it mounded up, that means it has artificial additives and stabilizers to make it be able to stand up and not melt all over the place. What you're looking for is gelato in a metal container where the gelato is kind of even with the top of the container, and also, ideally, that it has a metal top to keep it cool. Well, now that you know what to avoid, where should you eat instead? Well, do as the Italians do.
First, look for a menu that is short, focuses on seasonal ingredients, is in Italian only, or maybe has an English translation. You don't want one of those menus with a lot of different languages.
Second, peek inside the restaurant. Is it full of Italians? Do you hear Italian being spoken, or do you just hear English being spoken? And is it full at the peak times, like 1 o'clock for lunchtime and 9 o'clock for dinner time? And oh, by the way, if you see a restaurant that's packed at 6 p.m., that's a sure sign that it's a tourist trap because Italians don't eat that early.
Third, ask a local. A couple of really good sources are a taxi driver, a shopkeeper in a store where you've just made a purchase, or maybe people in your hotel. This last one can be a little bit dicey because we've had the experience of asking a hotel where to go, them giving us a recommendation, and then when we show up, the restaurant is full of other people staying at our hotel. So what you want to ask them is, where do you go to eat? And make sure that you tell them you don't really want a place that is full of other tourists.
And finally, be flexible. If you go to a restaurant and it's full right now, well, ask for a later reservation that night or ask them for a reservation the next day. It'll be worth the wait.
Or wander down a side street and see what you find. Some of the best restaurants we've found in Italy is when we do that, sort of follow our nose and end up having a spectacular meal in a small little place.
Now, if you really like to consult Google or TripAdvisor for restaurant ideas, then here's a little hack that we use, which is change the language filter on TripAdvisor, let's say, to Italian, and that way you'll find out what the Italians really think of these restaurants.
Italy is one of the best places in the world for eating well, but you need to avoid those tourist trap restaurants to have that experience.
Now, if you want more tips about eating out in restaurants, we have one about how to order and another one about restaurant etiquette in Italy. Ciao for now.
A presto!